I'm Anil Kumar, and here in this video I'll discuss a question from my student Shavi. She wants to understand how to add or subtract fractions with unequal denominator. It's kind of like this. How do we add, let us say, 2 over 3 with, say, 1 over 6? Or how do we subtract fractions like 4 over 5, take away, let us say, 2 over 7? So how do we do such questions? Now the first step here is to make common denominators. You cannot add or subtract fractions unless you make common denominators. So the first step is to add or subtract fractions, we need common denominator. That is important. So we need common denominator. Common also means same denominator, right? So they should have exactly same denominator. Only then you can add or subtract fractions. So that is the first thing which we need to understand. Now second part is how to do it, right? How to do it, right? So that is what is the second step, how to do it. Now let's look into them one by one. I've taken one example with addition, the other one with subtraction. So we have 2 over 3 plus 1 over 6. Their denominators are different. Can we make them same? I think we can. And this process of making them same is also called as writing them as equivalent fractions. Right, so that is another term which you need to understand. So writing them with same denominators is also called equivalent fractions. So can we have a fraction which is equal to 2 over 3 but which has a denominator of 6? Well, you can multiply 3 by 2 to get 6, correct? So if I multiply both by 2, numerator and denominator, in that case we get equivalent fraction. Multiplying by 2 over 2 is like multiplying by 1. When you multiply by 1, numbers do not change. They remain same. Since they remain same, we call them equivalent fractions, correct? So when I do 2 times 2, I get 4, and 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 over 6. Do you see that? So now we have written 2 over 3 plus 1 over 6 as 4 over 6 plus 1 over 6. 4 over 6 is equivalent to 2 over 3. However, here we have same denominators. Once you have same denominators, then you can add numerators. 4 plus 1 is 5. So I can write this as 5 over 6. Do you see that? So once you have same denominators, then you can add or subtract numerators and you get 5 over 6. So that is how you do it. Now here we'll do subtraction. The method is exactly same. So first step is to find common denominator. Now what is the common denominator between 5 and 7? Now this process is also called LCM. We can find lowest common multiple. Now 5 and 7, 5 times 7 is 35. 35 is the LCM for 5 and 7. So we say that 35 is LCM, lowest common multiple, for 5 and 3. So in this particular case, we can kind of cross multiply and get the same denominator, right? So cross multiplication is another way of making equivalent fractions. So here I'm teaching you another strategy, which is cross multiplication. So at times when the numbers are prime numbers, then you don't have to think much. You can just cross multiply. Cross multiplication means If I multiply 5 with 7, I get their common denominator, which is 35. So I can write both with the denominator of 35. Do you get the idea? Now what should be the numerator? Since 5 has been multiplied by 7, 4 should also be multiplied by 7. So we are basically multiplying both by 7, which is this number. Do you see that? And the other number is being multiplied by 5. So 5. Why are we saying this is cross multiplication? Because you do 5 times 2 and you do 7 times 4. So that is kind of a cross multiplication. So we can adopt this method of cross multiplication and also do add and subtraction when we have fractions with unequal denominators, right? So 7 times 4 is 28. 5 times 2 is 10. Now we have same denominators, so we can add or subtract. This case is subtraction. So we can do 28 minus 10. They have common denominator of 35. Let me rewrite this and then do it. 28 minus 10 is 18. So we have 18 over 35. So that is the answer for us. So I hope you understand quite a few things from here. First and foremost, you can add or subtract fractions only if you have them with common denominator. It is always good to write them with lowest common denominator, since then you don't have to simplify your answer. You could have done cross multiplication here also. You'll get bigger numbers. In that case, you may need to simplify. Well, we can try that also, right? Now, so we have to find or learn strategies to find lowest common multiple. You can look into my links to understand how to find lowest common multiple also. Now once you have common denominators, then you can add or subtract fractions. This process of writing a fraction with common denominator is also same as writing equivalent fractions. Okay, so you write equivalent fraction with same denominators, and then you perform the operation of addition or subtraction as the case may be. I hope that helps. Thank you and all the best.